After what felt like forever, Netflix's Wednesday is finally back with its much-anticipated second season, and fans all over the world have been binging it the moment it dropped. It's been a long 2 years since Season 1 took the internet by storm, turning Jenna Ortega's Wednesday Addams into one of Netflix's most iconic characters. On August 6th, Part 1 of Season 2 finally hit the platform, with Part 2 set to arrive on September 3rd. And while there's a lot to love this time around, more mystery, higher stakes, and new characters to obsess over, the new season also brings back one of the biggest complaints from Season 1. The twist? It's not the exact same problem, but it's close enough to stir up some déjà vu for longtime fans. The main story in Wednesday Season 2 focuses on the ominous figure known as the Avian, who Wednesday becomes convinced is connected to the tragic death of her best friend Enid, a death she has seen in a disturbing premonition. Determined not to let this vision come true, Wednesday throws herself completely into solving the mystery and finding a way to stop it from happening. She's joined in her investigation by Agnes, another student who becomes her unlikely ally in the fight against the clock. But in an interesting character move, Wednesday also starts keeping Enid at arm's length, almost as if she believes that distancing herself will somehow protect her friend from danger. This choice adds tension to their usually close friendship and leaves Enid feeling hurt and confused. But this being Wednesday, the Avian mystery isn't the only thing going on. There are multiple side plots running alongside the main story, including the continuing mystery of Wednesday's stalker, and a bizarre situation involving Pugsley's zombie. And then there's Enid's personal drama, which ends up being one of the season's most talked about storylines. Unfortunately, it's here that the déjà vu kicks in. Fans who watched Season 1 will remember one of the biggest criticisms, the unnecessary love triangle involving Wednesday, Tyler, and Xavier. Many felt it pulled focus away from the show's signature dark comedy and supernatural mystery vibe. And while the new season promised to leave that behind, it turns out romance triangles aren't gone entirely. They're just happening to someone else now. In Season 1, Wednesday was stuck between Tyler, the seemingly sweet barista with a dark secret, and Xavier, the tortured artist with a crush on her. It was meant to add drama, but some viewers felt it distracted from the main plot. Even Jenna Ortega herself openly admitted she wasn't a fan of the love triangle, saying in interviews that she pushed back against it. And when Season 1 ended with Tyler's true nature revealed and Xavier left standing alone, many assumed that Season 2 would skip romance altogether and focus purely on the creepy mysteries that made the show a hit. For the most part, that's true, at least when it comes to Wednesday herself. The writers did warn fans ahead of time that romance would still be present in Season 2, but in a different way. They explained that, since Nevermore is a school full of teenagers, some level of romance is inevitable. But instead of repeating Wednesday's own messy love triangle, the drama shifts to Enid. In the first half of Season 2, she finds herself caught between two guys, Ajax and Bruno. At first, it sounds like a lighter, harmless subplot to balance out all the murder-y gloom. But in practice, it ends up taking a surprising amount of screen time, which is exactly why some viewers are feeling the same frustration they did in Season 1. On paper, the Enid-Ajax-Bruno dynamic is classic high school drama. Ajax is the quirky Gorgon we know from Season 1. Sweet, a bit awkward, and genuinely caring toward Enid. Bruno is the charming newcomer with a mysterious edge. Instead of making a clean choice, Enid keeps bouncing between them, all while avoiding an honest conversation about her feelings. This alone wouldn't be so bad if it didn't mirror Wednesday's Season 1 situation. But where Wednesday's triangle was more about two guys chasing her without her leading them on, Enid's version is messier and for some, harder to watch. The frustrating part is how Enid treats Ajax. The two start the season in a weird limbo because Enid ghosted him after what was essentially a minor disagreement, not some big betrayal or deal-breaking conflict. If she had simply told him she wanted to move on, it would have been understandable. But instead, she leaves him hanging and then starts spending a lot of time with Bruno, openly flirting with him before officially breaking things off with Ajax. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, and for a character as lovable as Enid, it's jarring to see her act this way. Even viewers who aren't fans of Ajax end up feeling bad for him. One of the reasons Wednesday's love triangle in Season 1 didn't completely tank her character was because she never really misled Tyler or Xavier. She was more focused on her investigations and made it clear that romance wasn't her priority. Enid, on the other hand, comes across as indecisive and frankly unfair to Ajax. It doesn't make her a bad person. She's still a teenager figuring out her emotions, but it does make for some frustrating viewing when you're rooting for her to just be honest and decisive. It's worth noting that Enid is still an emotionally immature character. She's bubbly and optimistic, but she also struggles with confrontation and doesn't always know how to express herself. That's realistic for someone her age, but it doesn't make the love triangle storyline any less divisive among fans. In fact, it's safe to say that while the writers intended this subplot to show another side of Enid's growth, many viewers would rather see her focus on her friendship with Wednesday or her own supernatural challenges. If the second half of Season 2 continues down this same path, there's a risk it could overshadow the more compelling parts of the story: the avian mystery, the stalker subplot, and the eerie Nevermore setting that fans fell in love with. There's definitely room for romance in the show, but the way it's currently playing out feels too similar to the distraction that annoyed people in Season 1. The difference is that instead of Wednesday being in the middle of it, we now have Enid taking that role, and it's not necessarily a good thing. The silver lining here is that the triangle could be resolved quickly in Part 2. If Enid makes a clear decision and the show shifts back to her and Wednesday working together, the rest of the season could easily recover. There's also a chance the writers are intentionally making Enid's situation messy to set up a big emotional payoff later on. Maybe a moment of self-awareness where she realizes she's been unfair to Ajax, or a twist where Bruno isn't who he appears to be. This is Wednesday after all, trust no one. Still, the pattern is hard to ignore. Wednesday Season 1 had an unnecessary love triangle that fans didn't ask for. Wednesday Season 2 replaces it with another love triangle, just with different characters. The key change is that Wednesday herself is now free from the romantic drama and fully focused on the mystery, which is exactly what many people wanted. But the downside is that the romantic subplot hasn't been eliminated. It's just been reassigned to someone else. Whether that's better or worse depends entirely on how invested you are in Enid's personal life. It's a tricky balance for the show's writers. They know that romance is a natural part of teenage life, but they also have a fan base that loves the dark, creepy, and witty side of Wednesday Addams more than any relationship drama. If the romance is going to stay, it has to feel organic and not like a time filler. Right now, Enid's love triangle feels like it's walking that thin line. And for some viewers, it's already crossed it. With Part 2 just weeks away, fans are hoping the show course corrects and brings the focus back where it belongs. Wednesday's vision of Enid's death is a genuinely gripping hook, and the Aviant's identity could lead to one of the series' most shocking twists yet. The stalker subplot still has plenty of unanswered questions, and Pugsley's zombie situation is so bizarre that it deserves more screen time. There's a lot of great material in play, enough that romance could take a back seat without the show losing anything. In the end, Wednesday Season 2 Part 1 proves that the series still knows how to deliver on mystery, atmosphere, and quirky humor. But it also shows that the creative team hasn't completely let go of their love for teen romance drama, even if they've moved it away from Wednesday herself. Whether that's a deal breaker or just a minor annoyance will depend on what happens next. For now, fans will just have to wait and see if Enid's complicated love life gets a satisfying conclusion, or if it ends up being another season-long distraction.